Good afternoon, everybody out there in YouTube. How's my YouTube family doing? Hope y'all are doing fantastic. What we're going to be doing here is, typically you do a 10,000 mile review and go over. The Ranger has, I just looked, and we'll go back in and look at it here again. It's got 5,042 miles. Now, the reason I'm doing the review now is because we just got back last night, rolled in from our first road trip in the Ranger, if you will. I'm just going to give my thoughts on it, see how it went, look at how many miles we drove, and I waxed it before we left. And considering, we'll look. I think we drove 1,072 miles. We'll look at the trip because I set it, reset the trip, reset the mileage. Wanted to see how well it'll do. While we're looking at the truck, we went from southeast Missouri to Smoky Mountains, Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. So a lot of that driving, because we were there Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, got back last night. A lot of that driving was, and if you've ever been out there, and we were there on the 4th of July. So just to tell you how crowded it was crowded, and that's an understatement. So you do a lot of driving. We did the touristy thing. We went to Dollywood. We went to Cades Cove. We went, seen some shows. So there was a ton of driving, bumper to bumper, stop, go, stop, go. And the reason why I'm emphasizing that is because the fuel mileage, which I am very pleased with overall, that isn't just highway miles. There's a lot of in-town driving. But before we get inside and do that, really the only updates to the truck, I used some of my Ford Pass points and got some splash guards put on. And I don't know how well you can see that in the shade because the road grime, and if I put tire shine on my truck, they're Ford, doing real well. We took this trip, and if we could look at the truck, there's a little, I waxed it before we left. There's a little road grime. I'm just going to run it through the car wash real quick. So the mud guards, excellent. Keeps the rocks from getting thrown up, into the paint, which there is they got the protection up underneath. But so we got that on, got the bed mat and the tonneau cover, which I did a little install video on. And we are back. My camera cut out. Come on, GoPro, get it in gear. So anyhow, we got the Gator tonneau cover. I did an install video on that. You can go back and look at that if you haven't seen it. But just to give a review on the Gator cover, because it rained, and it didn't really interfere with any of our activities. But out of the 5 days we were there, it rained probably, and it would be at night, but it would rain hard. On the way home, it rained dry. The Gator trifold did the job well, no complaints. A little old bub trick, which I've shown y'all before. Since the tonneau cover is down, I got a bed light, but since the tonneau cover is down and the Ford Ranger doesn't have bed lighting in it, wish they would do that. I think they're going to in 2024. But anyways, my little old bulbs, they do the trick phenomenally. So flip that up. But anyhow, yeah, the truck, the little Ranger did excellent in my opinion. Let's get inside and take a look at some of the numbers, see what we got here. The seats, absolutely comfortable. No complaints on the seats. All right, if you could see this, it's showing 5,042. I don't know how well that's going to show up on camera. Then let's start it up real quick. The navigation on the truck, I love the way the navigation works. Let's get over here real quick. Fuel economy, we're at 24.1, trip 2. All right, we drove 1,000, there you go. Get this back out. We drove 1,070 miles, 0.2 to be precise, 24.1 miles. It's showing 30 hours and counting. This is the first time I've started it up since we got home last night. So 30 hours of driving on the truck. It takes, just to give you a general idea, it takes, I believe the maps said it would take 7 hours and 20 minutes. That's if you drove it, 7 hours, 20 minutes. So let's just say 8 hours. 8 hours there, 8 hours back is 16. So you're looking at 14 hours of stop and go, bumper to bumper traffic. That's what and we did drive out in the country, so, up in the Smokies, whatever. But I'm real impressed and pleased with the gas mileage. The maps worked great in the truck. And because usually, I use my phone, but since this truck came with the maps, it performed flawlessly. And on this, when you're coming up on an exit, at least on this, and all navigational maps that come with vehicles may be this way. I don't know. This is the first vehicle I've had that came with navigation. But if you're coming up on an exit, it's going to tell you, hey, 1.2 miles, you're going to take exit 47B, whatever. And then it'll split the screen and it'll actually show you an actual picture of the exit. And it has a little blue line that will slowly go up so you can tell exactly whether it's an exit or whether it's a street turn. So pleased with that. The last thing we'll go over, I don't think I'm forgetting. Like I said, this is just an improv because first major trip that we took with the truck, couldn't be happier. The Yeti. Now this Yeti, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this in any of my videos. There's just some of the stickers of some of the places that we've been. And then of course I have these are all jugs I bought at yard sales. Purpose of them is just to flash here. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for everybody that's been commenting, liking, and subscribing. I'm going on a solo camping trip, and I think we're down to 5 days now. And I've bought a lot of stuff off Amazon. I say a lot. I purchased some items online. That'll be a separate video we'll go over, and we'll go over that video just to show you some of the stuff I bought for camping. See how, and I'll review it while I am out camping. But these are all, these are jugs that I bought at yard sales. And the whole purpose of these, and they've been cleaned, they've been bleached, they've been soaked, they're all sanitized. But these are, I just fill them full of water. And then once I strap them down the back of my truck. And that way I have water. If I'm somewhere that's remote, because I've got a couple of places in mind, and we'll see where we end up at as y'all go along on the journey with me. But if they don't have water, I've got plenty of water. I always take some hand soap, I can wash up. I've got extra water, put it in pans, put over a grate to boil, whatever. So that's what those are. And then a little comb, and that's just kind of a secondhand store find. I believe that's a 72 model, 68. It's old. Doesn't really hold ice that well. When I'm camping in the fall or winter, it obviously does good. Back to the Yeti. Sorry, got sidetracked. That Yeti cooler is probably, the wife and I were talking the other day, I'm going to guess that Yeti cooler is 10 to 12. No, it's probably 11 to 12, 13 years old. It's been dropped. When I got it, the first year I had it, I took it to deer camp. And when I got home, I didn't drain it. It had about 3 inches of water in it. It stayed in the back of the truck. Laziness on my part. December rolls around. It gets down to probably, we had a 3 or 4 day stretch here. Now, once again, we're going back 11, 12 years ago, to where the high temperature of the day was 9, literally single digits, maybe the lower teens for the high, 12 degrees, 13. And it kept that water, and it did eventually freeze. The insulation quality of a cooler isn't just how long it'll keep ice, it's how long it'll keep water from freezing inside your cooler too. And I let it freeze solid. I thought I cracked the inside, and I don't think it did. I've used it ever since. So I did a cup test about a month and a half ago, the Walmart brand or the Ozark Trails, whoever carries that, and a Yeti tumbler. And the Ozark Trails did just as well. You can go back and watch that video. But when it comes to coolers, and it was in back of the truck, never left the back of the truck. The range was from 88 to 95 during the day, sunshine. And I would buy a little bag of ice, because you can get small or large, put it in. Then the next day I'd have to put a little bag. So one day I bought a larger bag, and it was, sometimes you can get ice that's like an ice block. It's frozen, and then you smash it on the concrete. I left that block frozen, put it in the cooler, and it lasted 2.5 days. And there was still ice in there, a little slushy. Excuse me. Point being is, if you just put one bag of ice, now when I go camping, we're gonna pack this thing out, because I won't be around to store, I don't think. It's according to where I go. But I'm gonna shut up, but it will keep ice, just one bag, 94 degrees. If you put it in at noon, one bag, the next day, 24 hours later, there'll be just a little bit of ice left, but the water will be ice cold. And that's just on a little 7-pound bag of ice. But anyways, just going over the Yeti because it went on the trip with us also. So stay tuned. Here in the next day or two, before I leave, I'm gonna do a video over all the stuff I bought and what we're taking camping. And then we'll head out and go camping for a couple days. All right, thank you much. We'll see y'all later.